Right now, guns in schools are a big topic. I know that the Columbia Public Schools has a policy in place. Can each of you explain, will you support the current policy, or will you work to change the current policy? Well, arming teachers, we know we're talking about guns in schools.
The current policy that's in place for Columbia Public Schools only relates to our safety and security director and his or her assistant. And he has to go, it's John White and then his staff. They're the only ones that are allowed to carry a handgun. They have to go through all the proper training, and they're all retired Columbia police officers. So that's the only policy that we have in place. Our board prior has talked about this always comes up, it seems like anytime there's a national event, and we have talked about it in the past. As of now, this board and myself personally is against having teachers carry guns. We're not in favor of that at all. What we did talk about at our safety and security update at our last board meeting, which was already scheduled to occur during the work session even before Florida occurred, so we were going to be updated, was the need potentially, does John White's staff need to be increased? You know, we continue to increase buildings and, you know, the number of students, and so does our safety and security staff need to mirror more of what our student population is? But we have done some really cool things in safety and security with our Columbia police officers. We have 9 outreach officers that now come into our elementary schools, which is really awesome, and we are now allowing officers to use our buildings to write up their paperwork. So that relationship building is starting to become stronger. I have done some research on this topic prior to even the last tragedy, and one thing I would want to mention is I really commend the school district and the school board for the systematic approach they've taken over the years to improving safety and security. They've been very methodical about it, very intentional about it, and I think our students are safer for it. Related to the one specific question, whether teachers should be armed, I have a personal reaction to that, and that would be no, but I also wanted to go out and support that with feedback from teachers. Everything I've read so far and personal conversations indicate that the majority would not want to take on that responsibility. They see their mission as educating young people, and I think we as a community need to find other ways to help support the school district so that our educators can teach and we maintain the safe schools.
So one of the things that I'm always trying to do is to find out more information about some of the issues that are affecting our schools. So recently I met with John Warner, who is a former Columbia police officer, and he is now with the Center for Educational Safety with Missouri School Boards Association. And I asked him, what is your take on this? Because he has access to a national audience and is able to talk about that. And I asked him his opinion on arming teachers. And his reply to me was, no, that is not in the best interest of teachers, listening to what he has heard out in the community. My sort of personal bias has been no. But what I want to be able to know is that have we exhausted all other remedies before we get to the point of arming teachers? So I want to know, do we have adequate staff in buildings to be able to provide some sort of support like that? Do we have an active police presence? And we do in Columbia Public Schools. You will see police cruisers in front of schools frequently. I want to know that. My initial reaction might be no, but I want to know that we have done everything else before I am convinced to do something that drastic. I've been in those classrooms. I know how easily and how quickly something can go wrong.
I am not in favor of arming teachers whatsoever. I think it's a good opportunity for community involvement to explore other areas as well, to make sure the community, parents, teachers, staff all feel like they're safe in their environments where they're at during the day. I think this would be explore other avenues, mental health, building of community in schools to make sure children, when they feel ostracated or have feelings that they need help, feel like they're comfortable reaching out, or having their friends feel comfortable reaching out for them. I think it's important to improve the process before it gets to something as extreme as violence. So I'd like to see more of that community involvement, building culture, just having presence of teachers walking through halls, knowing children's names, being actively involved. I see a lot of that in the schools I've visited, but there's always room for improvement. There's a lot of things. You can say that almost about everything. So that's something I would like to see, just building that family feel relationship to really have those supports out for anybody who needs it.
I'm a former teacher myself. I'm not in favor of arming teachers. One thing that I do think we need to do as a community, though, that hasn't been proposed so far, is to have a school safety task force that would include the Boone County Mental Health Coalition, that would include law enforcement, that would include Columbia Public Schools employees, especially teachers and front office staff. We really need to come together as a community and make sure we have everything in place. We can't operate in silos. We need very integrated interactions among and between organizations and agencies we have out there. We just cannot afford to be caught flat-footed with this. And so I'm strongly urging everybody to start thinking about it. A task force would really help us get a good handle and look at long-term at what is best for Columbia Public Schools.